Living Proof with Beth Moore is sponsored by the friends and partners of Living Proof Ministries.
Anybody shaken up this weekend, whether it's a little bit or it's a lot, over any kind? 12. The 12th chapter of the book of Hebrews. I'm going to pick up at verse 18. For you have not come to what may be touched, a blazing fire and darkness and gloom and a tempest, and the sound of a trumpet and a voice whose words made the hearers beg that no further messages be spoken to them, for they could not endure the order that was given. If even a beast touches the mountain, it shall be stoned. Indeed, so terrifying was the sight that Moses said, I tremble with fear. But you have come to Mount Zion, to the city of the living God, the heavenly Jerusalem, and to innumerable angels in festal gathering, and to the assembly of the firstborn who are enrolled in heaven, and to God, the judge of all, and to the spirits of the righteous made perfect, and to Jesus, the mediator of a new covenant, and to the sprinkled blood that speaks a better word than the blood of Abel. See that you do not refuse him who is speaking. For if they did not escape when they refused him who warned them on earth, much less will we escape if we reject him who warns from heaven. At that time his voice shook the earth, but now he has promised, yet once more I will shake not only the earth, but also the heavens. Verse 27. This phrase, yet once more, indicates the removal of things that are shaken, that is, things that have been made, in order that the things that cannot be shaken may remain. Verse 28. Therefore, let us be grateful for receiving a kingdom that cannot be shaken. Somebody say, cannot be shaken. And thus let us offer to God acceptable worship with reverence and awe, for our God is a consuming fire. Did anybody come to this place shaken? What has you shaken right now? We're definitely going to have a theology lesson tonight, and we're going to be studying these scriptures all weekend long. But with your patience, I want to take just a couple of minutes to set our concept into play, to make sure we're in the mindset to receive this seed down deep where it needs to go. I Googled the words shaken up. Do those two words resonate with anybody in the room? Anything gotten you shaken up? Anybody come into the house this weekend just a little bit or a whole lot shaken? And I Googled those two words, shaken up, and the context that most commonly came up in the very beginning, you've heard a number of times, and it was this: so-and-so was in a car accident. Perhaps you have gotten this from your spouse who gave you a call and said, I just want you to know that our 16-year-old has had a car accident. She is perfectly fine. She is unhurt, but she is, can you tell me those two words? She is shaken up. She is shaken up. As the Lord would have it, this exact thing happened to me only 3 days ago. I nearly had a really bad wreck. And I did that thing that perhaps you have also done, where you kind of lose control of your car and you start fishtailing all over the place, and you're trying to turn the wheel the opposite direction that you're going, and then it goes that way, and you're trying to turn the wheel back this way, and I was sliding on a lot of moisture underneath my tires, and I was just like yelling and hollering, and I was just so aware. It was when time slows down and you think, I'm about to total my car if I even make it out alive. But what made this a little bit more unique was that I was in a drive-through car wash. I don't know what happened to me. Some, you know those when you're supposed to go into that thing, it goes like this, and your tire is supposed to go into it. When I start toward that, my heart starts palpitating. Somebody tell me that you've been there where you think, I don't think I'm going to be able to get my tire in that groove, and I start manifesting all sorts of anxiety, and I start getting really sweaty, and it's like it knows. It's like it's laughing at me before I ever come. It's like the automated thing ought to say to you, you idiot, you idiot. And I start like, no, I can do it, you can do it, you can do it, you can do it. And I try to drive straight ahead. I try to do everything right. But somehow I got up on the thing instead of down in the groove. But then when I turned my wheel like this and tried to get off of it. Well, then I slid that way over here and started fishtailing around here. And there was so much water down below that I was just fishtailing all over the place. And then when I finally, my heart was just beating like this, I was yelling. And by the time I got my car straightened out, I thought I just had to keep putting it. I put it in drive, and then I put it in reverse, and then I put it in drive, because I was trying to get it where the light would just go stop. And stop. Stop. Honestly, by the time I had my car washed, I thought I'm going to have to get out of my car and go tell them my car is stuck in there. Y'all, I thought my car was going to be totaled. I don't mean it was a long one. I mean it was only the length, just a little longer than my car. That's the kind of car wash I'm talking about. You just drive through the thing. There's no man standing there, nothing. You're completely unsupervised and unsafe. It's terrifying. Absolutely terrifying. And by the time I was out, when it said go, I felt like it was like this, go. But y'all, I got so tickled, I would have given $100 to have had a video to give my daughters. $100. That would have been the best moment of their lives, because I don't know if you're a little bit like this. Like, I don't get tickets, and I don't have accidents. Praise you, Lord, and let it stay that way. But it is the grace of God, because I never take a turn I do not hug. I love curves. You know what I'm saying? Every single time I take a turn, I hit a curb. So it's that kind of thing. So we all know what it's like, where you just like get shaken over something stupid. And then there's things that are just a little bit more serious. For instance, by the time I was putting on my mascara today to get ready for you, my hands were beginning to shake. Because if you think I take it lightly, 30 years later, to walk up in front of a group, you are out of your ever-loving mind. It is scary, and it is weighty, and it shakes me up, and it ought to. It ought to. It ought to shake us up a little bit to be servants of God. Even though it is the privilege of our lives, there's some responsibility attached to that. All sorts of things can shake us up. Globally, I want you to think globally before we lock it into personally. I want you to think of things like if you've ever been on a mission trip, for instance, and you left what is our more comfortable world in terms of the rest of the planet, and then you go to the other side of the world where, you can just go on day by day when you're over here and not have to think about it, but then people are starving to death over there and are oppressed in ways that we've never comprehended. I remember the first time I ever went to Angola, and we went out into villages where they had never seen a woman as white as I am with as blonde a hair as I have. Bleached though it may be, it was a shock to them. Some of the children literally cried when they saw me. And someone finally told me they think you are a ghost. I said, perfect. That's just perfect. It just struck me. It shook me. What really shook me is that we were bringing in a feeding program, and that feeding program had been there for some amount of months, and we watched the children line up, and these people, that you couldn't even explain electricity to them. There'd be no way, they would have no way to even comprehend, nothing to compare it to even understand what in the world you were talking about. They've never been any further than it would take them to be able to get water and find something to kill, to eat on occasion, to grow something there if they could. That's as far as they're just going as far as they can walk and come back. That's what they're living in. But I remember so well seeing the line the very first time, because all the feeding program could do was feed the children 14 and under. And I'm watching this whole line of children from rural village to rural village. And then the adults are just standing there beside them. It'll shake you up. ISIS will shake you up. That people think up horrors and ways to make people suffer that are flat out demonic. Shakes us up. But now, here's what I want to do, because see, if we're going to be a courageous church, and by church, I don't mean anything that has to do with denomination. We are united as the church of the living Lord Jesus Christ through our faith in Him alone and what He has done for us on the cross. And by grace, we are saved through faith. And this is not of our own works. But the church, if the church is going to be courageous in the day in which we've been called, if the church is not going to be easily shaken in the day in which we have been called, then that means individuals within it. We keep wanting something to happen to the church. We keep wanting revival in the church. But until we have personal revival, and many of us have it, the church is not going to have it, because the church is us. So we're looking for the church to get more secure in our day and have more courage in the way it serves the globe. But we don't have more courage, and we are shaken ourselves. So it's got to come down to personally, what is it that shakes you up? What is it that shakes me up? I have been chasing vines from Genesis to Revelation for a solid 2 years, from country to country, from vineyard to vineyard, all driven by one portion of Scripture, John 15, where we're told by Jesus, "My Father is the vine dresser. I am the vine and you are the branches. And it is to my Father's glory," He says, "that you bear much fruit." If you will lend your heart to it and you'll really pay attention, then it's going to come right over. That God exerts on the behalf of people just like you and me. And we're going to see God do something that we could not have thought to ask Him.
Lord, we want all that you have for us this weekend. Every little thing.
Come join us in a city near you.
I want to do a little survey of topics, and here's how I'm going to ask you to do this. I want everybody in this room who has a smartphone to get it out, and I want you to turn your flashlight on your smartphone. If you don't have a phone that has a flashlight on it, I want you to use this, because this has got enough white on it that I'll be able to see it. I'm going to do a survey with you, and I'm going to name different areas or topics that have the most propensity to shake us up. Anybody in the room shaken up over a health matter of any kind? Maybe a diagnosis, maybe a heart attack not too long ago, some kind of infirmity that really is cheating some of your quality of life. Look around this room and take that in, because that is a lot of people shaken up over a health matter. You may put it down. You are in the right place this weekend. Anybody shaken up this weekend, whether it's a little bit or it's a lot, over any kind of family matter, may I please see your lights? How you like that, girls? Listen, you have lit this house up. Listen, that is some kind of sight. Number 3 is this, and let me qualify it first, so I'll get to the end of it. Give me about 3 or 4 sentences to make sure you know what all I'm throwing into this one category, and then I'll ask you the question at the end. So this one is gonna be about anybody shaken up over a relational crisis. Don't lift it yet, I already know. And by this, I mean it would include you feeling like a relationship might be threatened, fearing a breakup or a fissure of some kind, or maybe it's already happened and there's already been a breakup or a fissure of some kind, a betrayal or rejection, or suddenly somebody's gone cold on you. You can't figure out what's wrong. You keep asking what's the matter. They keep denying anything's at all the matter, but you're shaken up over it. Do any of those things apply? Any relational matters that have you shaken up right now? Could I see them, please? There you go. Put them down. Anybody here shaken up over a financial matter? Could I see your lights, please? Thank you. Just a couple more. Anybody, I see a little bit of difference between these two things because not all job-related things that shake us up have to do with finances. It can be that we've got a new supervisor, or we are a supervisor and we're having a whole lot of trouble in some area or another, or maybe you just like, for whatever reason, are having an extreme challenge with your job, but are you shaken up over a job-related matter? Can I see those lights, please? Huge, absolutely huge, okay? Now let me expound on this one as well. Give me just a second. This one is gonna be about anything regarding a faith matter. And I'm talking about, are you shaken up over a crisis of faith? Are you doubting what you've believed, or second guessing whether or not what you believe is right, or wondering where on earth God is? Can the Bible be believed? Should we just like move on into more modern times and just let go of the scriptures altogether? Anything like this, all of these things we're just going to put under the one category. So with that in mind, anybody in the room shaken up over a matter of faith? Can I see your lights, please? Thank you. And I would imagine that there are probably more than that, but you're already knowing that the person sitting next to you is going to ask you about it in the car. You will be hounded to no end about it. Hounded. So if you need to, just tell her, say, I'm a little shaken up over new ways that I might share my faith. You can try that. You can try it. But only if it's true, only if it's true. All right, this one is going to be the 7th one and the last of this little grouping. This is going to be really, really specific, but it's very, very big when it happens. How many, let me see it through with about 3 questions here until you get it. How many of you are shaken up by somebody letting you down? You're shaken up because somebody's let you down. Somebody else's failure, or somebody falling off a pedestal. Could be in a family setting, could be in a work setting, a church setting, a faith setting. Anybody shaken up because somebody let you down? Can I see your lights, please? There you go. There you go. So do you think, anybody, that maybe we've hit on the right topic this weekend when God has called us together in Waco, Texas, at this particular event, at this particular time, to study about the contrast between what is shakeable and what is unshakable? To see what can be shaken, so that we can behold what cannot. You can go ahead and turn your flashlights off. I do have one more, however, and we're going to sit on it for a couple of minutes. The reason why I'm not going to have you hold up your lights over this one is because every single one of us will have this one if we live long enough. And you might only have to live to be about 5 years old to have had this kind of experience, because such is as common to man and woman. We will all across the board get shaken up over this one, and probably no few times, but some of them will not just be shakes, they will be earthquakes. How many of you in this room, you can just say it with a groan, You can answer it with your hand. You can pick up your booklet. You can just sit still and nod your head. You can do it any way you want to. Anybody shaking yourself up? That your biggest shakeup is you. I appreciate the one little booklet I see back there, and you are going to have a mighty work of God. A mighty work of God. Nothing in my life has shaken me up like I have shaken myself up. A lot of ways it comes. It can come, we can shake ourselves up by just a confrontation of our own mortality. That can shake us up. Disappointing ourselves, devastating ourselves, bringing terribly difficult consequences on ourselves, doing something we would have told you we were absolutely and utterly incapable of doing. Incapable of doing. Can I see anybody's hand in here if you have been to that place? I know that place. Realizing that we were weaker than we thought. Maybe physically, maybe morally, maybe spiritually, maybe intellectually, just weaker than we thought we were. More depraved, more prone to depression or despair, but wholly more vulnerable than we thought. I am convinced. I've tried to make a test of it, and I've thought about it all week. I've put it in all sorts of different circumstances. I've looked at it and looked at it and looked at it and tried to see, does it fit? Is this a fair general statement to make? And I believe that almost across the board, I want to leave out some room there, almost across the board, every self-directed, what we would call an existential crisis, comes basically down to one moment. And it could happen a number of times in our lives, and it could happen at any age. It's not an age thing, but it boils down to one realization, and this is the realization: I am not as awesome as I hoped. All it takes to have a self-directed existential crisis is to come to an awakening that you are not as awesome and I am not as awesome as we hoped. Because, when we're little kids, like, I'm going to be awesome. Who's at this room? We're going to be awesome. And this means, because that's been in us since the garden, that our ultimate human moments, in strictly natural terms, are when we get the feeling, I am awesome. In fact, I am so awesome. I mean, in the human experience, self-directed, fleshly alone, it does not get higher than that. So it stands to reason that the big existential crisis, anybody tracking with me here, is I am not nearly as awesome as I hoped. Not only that, I am not nearly as awesome as I have acted. Can somebody let that one land nice and deep? Maybe I am the opposite of awesome. Maybe I am the anti-awesome. Anybody know what I'm talking about? I need to know that somebody has thought I'm the very opposite. I'm not only not awesome, I am the opposite. Like when you look up the antonym of awesome, that's my name. I need to know, can anybody at all go there with me? Anybody? Anybody? See, facing our lack of awesomeness can come in any context. I'm not as awesome a student as I thought. Maybe you were valedictorian in your high school graduating class, but you're having trouble getting through medical school. I'm not as awesome a parent as I hoped. Does anybody? I need to see somebody's hand if you have ever thought, I'm not as awesome a parent. I mean, y'all, I took a child development class when I was expecting my first child, and I got an A. And I was so sad that they did not put pluses in college because I had actually made an A+. And then I actually gave birth to the child. And then you start facing your lack of awesomeness. Whatever it is that most brings us identity. I don't care if it's that you won one spelling bee after another. As you were growing up, there comes a time when you're going to know that somewhere on the planet is a better speller. Existential crisis. I am not as awesome as I thought.
Living Proof would like to send you a thank you gift for your donation. Visit bethmore.org today.
Thank you so much for watching today. It is our joy to serve you at Living Proof Ministries. We do not take a single one of you for granted. Click subscribe so that you don't miss a moment of our time together in Scripture.